I'm going to tell you about the financial habits that make someone rich and make someone poor. Welcome back everyone to Don't Fear Finance. Today we'll be starting a series where we look at the difference between the way the rich save and spend and the way the poor save and spend. This is the first video where we'll look at the ways rich people handle their money. This is a lot less to do with finance and more to do with personal spending. Don't worry, you'll still get some money talk. Also, stick around until the end to get a cute photo of a turtle. And make sure to subscribe and comment saying that you did, because I'll be responding to all of your comments saying that you subscribed. Now, into the video. The way rich people spend is quite different in comparison to how the lower classes spend their money. There's a saying that is very true when it comes to the spending habits of the different classes. It goes, rich people stay rich because they act like they're poor. The poor stay poor because they act like they're rich. In simpler terms, this means that the rich don't look rich from the outside looking in. They look average compared to the poor. The people who buy luxuries are either poor and feel the need to show off, or they have gone through the frugal phase and have enough money saved up and invested to throw money at luxuries without flinching. That's how extravagant lifestyles come about with millionaires, billionaires, when they're self-made. That's the thing that most people don't understand. A huge part of financial freedom is saving to invest, not saving to save. By this I mean that you shouldn't save money to keep in your bank account. You should always have money going towards investments such as the stock market and a retirement account. You shouldn't even look at this money. Out of sight, out of mind. The big difference that I'm sure everyone watching knows about the interest rates between an investment and bank accounts. The interest rates of a bank account is horrific compared to investments. The average rate of interest you get in a bank account is about 1%. So if you were to deposit $100 in a bank account, you get $1 back per year. This is nothing when you put this amount next to investments such as the S&P 500, which has a 10% interest rate. By putting all the money you earn in your bank account, you will get a small amount of profit. But with inflation rates, you may start losing money by keeping money in your bank account. I'm not saying that rich people only keep money in investments. That would be false. They keep money in their accounts that they need to cover their expenses. There's an overall rule that the wealthy use to make sure that they always have enough money to invest, save, and spend on what they need, can, and want. It is the 50-30-20 rule. The rule states that 50% of your expenses go toward paying your needs, 30% of your income goes towards your wants, and 20% of your income goes towards savings, which in turn goes towards your investments. Now, personally, I'd prefer to pay fewer in wants and put more money in investments and savings. That's just what the rule states, though. Don't worry if you're not putting this amount of money into your needs or wants or investments. That's just a guideline, although I just called it a rule. Let's just call them guidelines for the time being. The way that the wealthy handle their money is very important, and it plays a big factor in their financial freedom. Having a good sense of how to handle your money is very valuable, but has no importance if you don't have the money and means to use that knowledge. But before we continue, make sure to like the video so that I know that you guys are enjoying these type of videos. Also, it helps out my channel a lot. Now, back into the video. The rich never have one stream of income. They will always have at least one extra stream of income. They do this once their day job is done, so then if they ever lose their main source of income, they will still have money coming in at the end of the month. In some cases, the side hustle that a wealthy person has will become their main source of income, or even their business if it does incredibly well. Most people think that if they cut back on their expenses, then they will have a lot more money left over, but that's not always the case. Some of the time, having just one stream of income is pretty dangerous, and in some cases, financially devastating. There are many rules that the first class used to make sure that they aren't throwing money down the drain whenever they spend money on something. I'm only going to tell you a few of them. If you want to see all of these rules, then make sure to subscribe and comment on what you want to see, and I'll make sure that it gets into a video. Rule number 1 is the 24-hour rule. This rule prevents you from impulse shopping. This happens when we are emotional and just want to shop. This rule is very simple. It states that if you want to buy something, then give yourself 24 hours, and if you still want it after that time, then go for your life. But if you don't want it, then you just saved yourself some money. Rule number 2 is to stick to a budget. This is where the 50-30-20 rule comes into place. If you strategically plan what you spend, save, and invest, then you could set yourself up for a very stress-free future. Remember that budgets never work unless you stick to them. I get it, this one is a cliche, but it is just that for a reason. The third rule is to spend money on things that make you more money. This could be a car if you work for Uber or Lyft. It could be a gym membership that gives you more energy to make more money. Anything that will motivate you or just makes you more money in the short or long term is considered what we call in the finance industry an asset. So buying a nice car when you don't work for a company that you need to drive around a lot for is not an asset, it's a liability. Buying a nice house if you don't rent it out to people on Airbnb is not an asset, but a liability. I believe that when buying materialistic things, you'll have to be a lot more careful and think a lot harder when you're purchasing these things on whether they make you more money or they're just there for short-term happiness. The fourth and final rule I'm going to share today is to pay bills first, then buy everything else after. This is probably the most simple and straightforward rule on this list. All I'm trying to get across is that you need to spend money on needs first, then you can focus on a little bit of short-term happiness. Something that I learned a few days ago was if you're going to buy things for short-term happiness, then buy something small. The bigger the object, gesture, vacation, whatever you're spending money on, the more it will take to get that amount of dopamine in your blood. This is most likely going to cost you a lot more money than the last thing did. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Here is that picture of a turtle I promised. Make sure to like and subscribe if you watched until the end, and I'll see you in the next video.